Well, hello, good morning. Welcome to day 7 of Stitching Advent. So, first of all, let's look at yesterday. So, we did our chickadee, and last night I sat and I stitched all round him. I've made him a boy, and all round his wing. I did 4 little French knots to create an eye. I just did some rough childlike cloud outlines, and then I couched down that twine that I showed you, and then I took that blue lace and cut lots of the little petals out, and then I took some of that creamy white curtain net and I chopped out some little bits as some sort of blossoms to go in there. So that is day 6, and I've decided I'm not going to give him a back because I want to get further down our line of fabrics. So that's day 6. So now for day 7, we need a new, what is it called? One of these, wadding. We need a new wadding. Contradiction in terms really, bearing in mind this is recycled, but so there's our wadding. And before I open our bag, you remember we talked yesterday about the Broad Anglaise vintage patterns that I found. Well, I then went off on YouTube and I saw a lady who suggested using rubber stamps to sort of learn with before you went on to something sort of proper. So here is what I did yesterday. This is a multi sort of overly circle stamp that I've got from one of the Tim Holtz sets, and as you can see I've done it. It's not perfect, it's the first time I've ever done it, and I did this in normal sewing cotton, and I think to get a better result I should really have done it in embroidery silk. But there you go. So my little tiny bit of tatting. Oh no, that's a button. Oh, don't tell me I've lost my bit of tatting. Well, anyway, I showed it to you, didn't I, yesterday? So my little bit of tatting, and now my little bit of Broad Anglaise. So very pleased with looking at these old style crafts. So without further ado, let's get on in and open up bag number 7. Right, drum roll if you please. Da 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 da. And we have got, oh, now this is beautiful. Love this. It's a little bit sort of Scandi, but obviously in blue, and I think that sits really well with that. Those two together are absolutely beautiful. Right, it does also sit nicely with this one, but obviously this one is very, very much darker. Now, as I mentioned yesterday, what I would like to do today is some weaving. So let's take our bag. Now, I was going to try and work this out, but I haven't really done it. So this is 5 wide by 7 high, and I ideally want to get probably 3 fabrics across the width and 4 across the height. So 4 into 7, if I did 1.5, 3, 6, that only comes to 6. If I do 2, it comes to 8. I think I'll do 2-inch strips and overlap it and then I can trim it off. So there you go, we got there in the end. So 2-inch strips. I'm going to use my cutting square and my roller blade, another salvage edge, which is awesome, mainly because now if we want 2 inches, we can again trim on that first fold, because that tear, because that is going to be a lot more than 2 inches, so that's going to be fine. Let's put that up there for now. Now we need to bear in mind that obviously we need 7, but we only need 5. So if I make sure that I trim at slightly over tear at slightly over 7, then I know we've got plenty. Okay, and now I'm gonna, yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Okay, so I'm going to have to line it up on my board and do it that way, because I mean I have got a 2 foot, no, a 3 foot long one of those, but obviously I can't really fit that on the desk with the camera and everything, so I'm just going to have to stand up. And first things first, I want this untorn edge, don't I? So let's turn that round, line that up, and give myself a 2-inch strip. So actually, you know, the other thing, I could do uneven strips, couldn't I? That would work as well. So there's, if I do it very roughly, so like there's one. So now we need a piece of each of the fabrics that we've had. Now that one is long enough, so, and this is of course where you can choose, as it were, your most favourites and have more of that and less of others, and so on and so forth. Or if you love them all, just going with the ones that you maybe have got more or less volume of. Okay, so I'm going for 1.5 on this one. Decided I am going to vary them. So there's my, right, now hang on, because that's the length and that is the height. Okay, so that's those fabrics, and then this lovely borrow looking one. Do I want that one that way or that one that way? I feel like I would like a longer piece of that, because I do really like this. So I'm going to cut or tear, right, I'm going to do it on the fold, I think is the answer. That's where we seem to have been going most of the time. So on the fold, and then we want it 7 inches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches, and we'll go 7.5 to make sure we've got plenty. We'll take that piece. I'm probably off camera here. Well, not quite. Okay, so that's this one. And again, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1.5 inches in this one. So another 1.5 inches. Oh, I felt that miss. There we go. Right. So then there's another one. And then I have to sort all these out, aren't afterwards, and then we could have a long one. So we got a 7 in this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's loads there. So again, if I do this at, I think, 1.5 inches, like so. So then we've got 1.5 inches. Okay, so that's 3 going along there. But then we said we wanted 4 for the height. So let's get the very dark one. Now we only need this to be 5, don't we? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a bit. 5 and a bit. Yeah, this could definitely do with a new blade. Dreadful, isn't it? I need new blades in this. I need new or sharpened scissors. Oh dear. Right. Yep, that's perfect. So now, it's very dark. Should we just do 1 inch, or should we do 1.5 inches? No, let's do the 1.5 inches. Do you love it when you talk to yourself and get the right answer? Right, so then we've got 1, 2. Obviously it's not going to sit quite like that. Right, and then I feel like there's fabric missing here. What's going on? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, the watermelon one, isn't it? So again, I'm going to go down the fold line. It just seems the obvious place. This one, I think I'm going to do wide. So I'm actually going to straighten this up a little bit, I think. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go for a full 6 on this one. And then I'm going to go wide on this one. So I'm going to do 2 inches again on this one. Right. Bring this back so you can see what's going on. Sorry, jogging my table around there. And then what's the one that we haven't used then? It'll be this watermelon one. But you know what? I don't want to use that on this piece. So I'm actually going to cheat. I'm going to take another piece of today's because I really like today's. That's the big piece. Here's the small piece. So I'm just going to do 1 inch in this one, and then I'm going to do another piece. 1 inch won't cut it though, will it? Let's go 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to do another piece in that borrow because I love that as well. So then that one's going to be on there. Oh, actually 1 inch probably would have cut it. Never mind. And then I'm just going to do 1 inch on this one. So obviously you see you can go wide and thin and choose whatever you want. Right, okay, so that, oh, pins would be handy. We need pins. And probably a needle and thread. Right, so let's have a little look at this. So, right, so I'm going to start by putting today's one like that and pinning that in place. I'm then going to put that one and pin that in place. Okay, that's that one. And then the borrow one, I keep calling it borrow, just because I think actually that's what it said, wasn't it, on the edge of the fabric. But it is like a borrow stitch, so I'm going to put that one across there like that. Okay, so there it actually goes this way, doesn't it, because it's a height thing. So then I'm going to start with the dark blue, and I'm going to put this is yesterday's fabric, right in this corner and pin it. Okay, it's then going to go under that one, and that one is going to sit over it there like so. Whoops. And then that one is sitting over that beautiful new one of today. Okay, so there's our first bit. So obviously then the next one is a really thin one, or do I want a really fat one? I'm going to go for a really fat one. So bring that up and over. I'm sure you've all done weaving before. That then will come down there and get pinned, whoops, there. Now I did have a comment yesterday from a lady, from Karen, who was saying, you know, that she loves what's going on here and she really wishes that she had time to join in. Now of course these videos are going to stay up, they're not going anywhere, so you can join in at any time at all. So then I think I'm going to go for this thin one. Oh no, that's going to go over, isn't it? Should we do this one? Yeah, let's do this one. So line that one up. So yeah, they're not going anywhere. And as much as obviously I'm stitching Advent, I'm only stitching Advent in as much as these are fabrics from my Advent calendar. It's not an Advent theme by any means, so there's no reason you couldn't do this just in blues, or because obviously I'm working in blue, or in, you know, reds or greens, whatever it is that suits you, whatever you like or you've got plenty of. Or at the end of the day, you know, if you like bright colours, you could be doing a multitude. See, when I'm talking, I'm not I'm not focusing on what I'm doing. You could do it in a multitude of colours. You can do whatever you choose to. It really doesn't matter. But the point is, you don't have to put yourself under pressure when there's so much going on at this time of year to try and craft. Just because you like the idea of something that somebody's doing. You can put it into your ideas book, or you know, your ideas box, your saved videos, whatever, and pick it up when you've got time. Or it may be that you've got time but you haven't got a plethora of fabrics to play with. Well, again, you know, there's no reason you can't wait till it's time to sort yours or the children's wardrobes out next and cut up old clothing in order to... Right, so then it's going to be... this very last one is going over, and then it's going under, like so, and then it's going over. And because obviously it's going over the same fabric there, you can hardly see really that there is two different lines, but that's fine. I haven't got a problem with that at all. So there you go. There is our woven page, and the idea obviously now is to A, stitch all this down, and then B, what we need to do is decorate it with lovely stitches. I'm just doing a rough trim of this now so that we haven't got too much flapping around. Keep those pieces, you can use them for something, and then obviously I can come back and trim it up properly when we're finished. So I've been hunting around this morning on the TV, trying to find a film that I'm aware as, you know, a new Christmas film that is being released. Can't find it, so that was a bit annoying. But in the process, I did. Now, where's my cotton? There's my cotton needle. I did find a whole Christmas movie channel. So I figure the next 18 days is a tea time Christmas movie, because I am a big kid. I do love Christmas and I can. So I am very probably gonna. So I'm just gonna run round with some invisible stitching to hold all this on, and then I can think about what I would like to do to it. Now the argument is that obviously the patterned fabrics, unless I can't thread this needle now, why is that happening today? There we go. The patterned fabrics, unless I'm going to use something like a white thread, we're going to have a bit of an issue seeing the stitching on. So I'm thinking what I'm probably going to do is embellish the patterned ones, perhaps with, I've got some rusty, not paper clips, safety pins there to the side that I use in my junk journaling. Oh, a knot would be good, Claire. I thought I'd done a knot. I think a rusty safety pin sort of goes with a sewing theme. Maybe an old button, bit of lace. So that's what I'll be decorating the patterned ones with. And then I'll be looking at doing stitching on those plain ones. So again, for this invisible stitch, I'm just basically doing a tiny, tiny stitch almost on top of itself. Now, in theory, using white is not the best on this navy blue. I should really be using a blue, but it's not too bad. And once I've started to decorate it up, and you won't really see it. The stupid thing is I have got 4 blue reels of cotton on my table, so because I wasn't sure what colour I'd want, which type of blue, so I could easily be using blue thread, but you know, it is what it is. So I trust everybody's happy, safe and well. I did start yesterday afternoon because I wanted to save that chickadee sewing for in front of the telly last night, which of course is now going to come in front of my Christmas movie. I did set about and start doing some of the December. I think I got myself up to 4, so I'm almost caught up, which is, you know, quite good. Although again, there is no panic with these things. It really, really doesn't matter. It's supposed to be a craft. It's supposed to be a hobby and fun. Therefore, there is no need to turn yourself into some kind of manufacturing conveyor belt just to do something that, you know, someone has suggested. And it's my youngest granddaughter's, no it's not, it's my eldest granddaughter's, sorry, see I'm losing my mind. Oh, I'll tell you about losing my mind in a minute, you won't believe it. Birthday today, so cakes and celebrations and all sorts, which is fun and games, obviously. So, talk about the loony woman. Yesterday I went into town, I've told you this, it was my monthly visit to the nail bar, get my feet done, and I thought, oh, while I'm in town I've got a swap to post. So on my way out the door I threw it in my bag. That sounds like I don't care about it. I put it in my bag. And while I was in town, I went into the post office and I said to the man, you know, I'd like to send this. He weighed it, said, yep, that's a large letter. I smiled and said, yep, that's what I expected. And he said to me, but it needs an address on it. So there I was with this parcel. Oh, now I've missed the wadding with that one. Come in a bit. There I was with this parcel that had no address on it. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm really, you know, losing it now. But as I was walking back home, I realised the reason for that is because I generally send things via the online click and collect shop. For those of you who didn't know, it's a bit cheaper, But of course that means you don't write a name and address on the envelope because it prints it all as part of the label. So of course, where I was so used to doing that, I hadn't addressed it. Crazy woman, I tell you. Mind you, I was talking to my eldest daughter the other day, and she told me that she'd gone into the shop to pick up a few bits on the way home, as you do, from dropping little one at nursery. And she got this little collection of things. She'd got to the till. She'd opened her purse and realised that her card wasn't in there. So she said to me, "No, I'm really sorry. I think I've left my card in the car. I'll have to, pop and get it." So anyway, she got back to the car. Card wasn't in the car. Okay. When you've got a toddler, it's highly likely that she's been playing with it. So it's probably around the house somewhere. At no point did she have any concern that this card was actually lost and could be a potential problem. Anyway, so she goes home, has a quick look round, coffee table, dining table, toy box, all those obvious things. Can't find it. Okay, no problem. I'll find it later. Checks the time. Okay, works out a list of jobs that she needs to do before she picks little one up again from nursery. Says, to hell with it. I've earned a cup of coffee. Gonna make a cup of coffee and sit down. Goes to the fridge, or gets to the fridge to remember that one of the things she was picking up on the way back was milk. So she wasn't going to have a cup of coffee because there was no milk. So left that, got on with what she had to do, da-di-da-di-da. Anyway, a friend popped round. They were chatting. Catherine popped to the loo, so wasn't sort of in the room. Don't worry, this is not a toilet story. And the friend, who's a good friend, thought, well, while she's in there, I'll make us both a drink. So she boiled the kettle, did the coffee and sugar and stuff in the cups, opened the fridge, no milk. But hey presto, in the door, where that milk should be, guess what she found? Yep, the card that Catherine had been looking for. Oh dear, it reminds me of the time many years ago where when we went on holiday and I had some cash that I didn't want to take on holiday with me, and because we weren't going to be there for a while, didn't really want to leave just obviously anywhere. So I put it in a empty ice cream tub at the back of the freezer. And to this day, whenever my daughters visit, they say, "Shall I check the freezer? Is there any good ice cream?" And yet the odd thing is, I never did it once, never did it again. But that's obviously stuck with them. Oh darn it, look, this thread isn't quite long enough. I'm going to have to rethread. It's obviously stuck with them as something that the crazy mother did once upon a time. So there you go. My daughter and I alike have both gone a little bit crazy this week. She's putting credit cards in the fridge and I'm trying to post stuff that's got no address on it. What can I say? Happens to the best of us, I suppose, is what I can say. Oh dear, crazy, crazy, crazy. So what about you guys? Any crazy stories to share? You put anything away in completely the wrong place? I suppose we should be grateful that the card being in the fridge didn't mean that the milk was in her handbag. One thing I have noticed doing this sewing every day is there's cotton threads absolutely everywhere. Boo came running towards me for... Hang on, I'm just looking. I think I fit to you. Oh, it's this tiny little corner up here. That's what I was saying. Oh, darn it, because there's only about 6 stitches. Boo came running towards me. I think that was yesterday, because it was dinner time. She had cotton thread on her head. And of course, because she's a Rottie, and therefore black and tan, white thread is really, really obvious. It's like she had a, I don't know, giant grey old lady hair or something. Although I shouldn't say that, because I started going grey when I was about 30, so being grey is not a sign of being old. That's for sure. So yeah, fun and games, fun and games. And now I've got a thread that's not going to come through. There we go. So this is now all nicely secured. Obviously the middles are open, but it's secured all the way around the edge, so we can afford to move it around a little bit and do some things with it. So now, as I say, the stitching is going to want really to be on the plain. So I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares to stitch on, and then I've got all these other squares that I can add something to for decoration. So in here, see, I'm lying now, there's not a, oh yes there is, there's a safety pin, there's a smaller one. I thought for a minute there wasn't any in here, but there is. There we go. So we're going to have a lovely safety pin. Now, I would normally put it through, you know, as you would use a safety pin, but I think where I've rusted these, it probably has no point. Shall we try? So we want it. Oh, it has gone through. See, I'm lying to you all now. Oh, just. Okay. So it's definitely secure because it's gone through, but I can do some couching stitch and hold that on there as well. I had that lovely little tiny vintage button here that's got this cord on it, so we can trim this cord off and we could put that one, say, on there, and then we could do some stitching coming out of it. Oops. So we can put that on there. So for now, let's just put a little catch stitch just so that the button is on and we don't lose it. That makes sense, doesn't it? Maybe even take it to one side there cotton stuck around my ring, and now we've got a knot going on in here. It's all not happening. Ho hum. And of course I broke two fingernails, didn't I? So now I can't pick anything up properly. Right, so let's try that again. Put a knot in there, pull that up through there. Right, and let's secure this button. Oh goodness me, what is going on here? Right, I don't quite know what's occurring here, but anyway. Just one little stitch, that's all I'm doing, just to hold it on, because I want to use decorative stitches for it. Let's cut off that extra thread that we definitely don't want. Okay, so I feel like we're going to need another button to come on there, but I don't want to go and dig my button tin out at the moment because it's right round off the edge of the desk. Oh, have I got any stray buttons in my embroidery box? Let's have a little look, because I do put odd things in here. I have, but I don't think, oh actually that grey would work. Okay, shouldn't have cut the thread, hey hey, scent trius and all that. So just add this grey button, because that's almost grey, isn't it? That borrow fabric there. I mean, it's not, but you know, it's not dark like this blue one, is it? Okay, this is a bigger button, so I'm going to give it a double run just to make sure. That's that one. Okay. There you go. So now, I told you that I was in the charity shop and I found the shirt for my closure. Remember? Do you remember me telling you that? Because it had this buttons, which would be the closure, and it's beautiful. Look at it. Comes from Next, although that red line implies it was in the sale. Probably wasn't as cheap as I paid because it came from the charity shop. But I'm now looking at it and I think if I'm going to decorate this with lots of stitching and things, it's a waste of all this decorative lace. And I mean, it's all around the bottom. So I think I've changed my mind. Well, no, I have definitely changed my mind because I went yesterday and bought a different one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to take this apart to give me some laces, etc. that I can use. Okay, so whoops, let's put that over there because goodness knows where everything's gone now. And let's look at this. So the obvious thing here would be, now we've broken that, so look at that. awesome. Now I'm going to keep the buttons and buttonholes because I will use them for a closure on something else, sort of in their own right. And look, this has got some of that like broderie anglaise work on it again, so that makes sense. Look, it's beautiful, and that is actually a piece all on its own. So what I'm going to try and do, whoops, what I'm going to try and do is break these stitches so that I can get that off of there. Have I done that? I think I've done it already. No. We are going to need to sit and snip that, and I don't know where my little tiny scissors are at the moment, so that's a job definitely for off of camera. Yeah, I can't do that with you on camera, but we can definitely get this bit off, I'm sure. Yeah, so this cotton lace, we can definitely get that off very easily. It's very, very soft and delicate, so we're going to use some of that. And for now, I'm going to cheat, and I'm just going to cut that piece there. It's only a small piece, so we are saving most of it. And then this one here that's got the ribbon through it, that's a different lace again. So, and this is part of why I was like, do you know what, I can't use this as a cover, it's just such a waste. So I bought a very boring white men's shirt yesterday, and we are going to use this for its beautiful laces, and actually it's a very nice cotton as well. So right, let's see if we can there it is. It's torn. Oops, and I've just put a big hole in that there. Oh well, that's the trouble with these giant scissors. That's why I like to use little scissors. Right, so we've got quite a lot of lace there now off of this. It didn't take really any time at all, did it? So what I'm thinking is that this beautiful piece here could maybe break up where we've got this double here. So I might just put that along there. So I'm going to cut that flower off. I'm going to cut it down that seam of stitching, and then I'm going to cut that one, and I'm going to cut that flower off, and then this little tiny piece here I'm going to pin to stitch on there. I just think it's a lovely little piece of lace. And then to coincide with that, I've got my little piece of broderie anglaise that I made. So I'm going to put that on there. And I've left the other three so that you can see that it was done from stamp work. So, right, now I don't want this piece here because you see it's two of the same thing on the same line. So I'm going to put it up there where the fabric's twice together, and I'll break this corner up with something else. Whoops, nearly tipped pins over. Right, now we've got this piece of lace, so I'm thinking that is what would very nicely break up there. So about there. And that's going to sit a little bit shorter because I want to see the fabric around it. That's going to sit on there like that. Still not happy about that, so I'm going to put that one in that top corner like so. Okay. And I need to find my little piece of tatty, and that's what's going to go on there, but I don't know what I've gone and done with it at the time. It's just here somewhere, so I'll put a pin so that I know where I want it. And it's gonna sit right. Can you see I'm feeling a bit not quite right about this? I'm going to put this one across I'm having a bit of an issue here. Can you tell? Can you tell? Can you see what it is yet? I'm probably going to change my mind, but we'll put that across there and we'll see what happens. It just is not sitting quite right with me with regard to how it makes the eye feel, if that makes sense. Now that feels better. Call me crazy, but that feels much, much better. So there you go. I think I've taken up way too much of your time again, as always. I'm sure we've been here best part of an hour. So I'm going to toodle off, get all this finished and stitched up, and obviously you'll get to have a look at it properly tomorrow morning. Stay safe. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye for now.